Hey there, I'm Amy and welcome to your practice. Today we're moving through a slow flow slash yin style class with a focus on releasing and relieving lower back pain. So you'll need yourself, obviously. You'll need your yoga mat. It's a nice idea to grab a couple of props as well so we can feel supported and held up in the practice as well. So if you have a couple of cushions at home, a couple of pillows, that's going to be really handy. A blanket or a towel or something like this that you can kind of either sit on, fold it up, or roll up will be handy as well. If you have a block or a book or even a Tupperware container, something kind of at the same height so that perhaps we can rest our hands on it if the ground feels a little further away or anything like that. So cushions, blanket or towel, and maybe a block or something of a similar shape if you have it. Feel free to press pause on the video now, go get your bits and pieces, and then when you come back, we'll begin down on our back in a pose called Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees out wide. And this might be where you find your cushions at the very beginning of the practice. So as we come on down, I like to place the cushions just underneath my thighs, coming down onto the back. Soles of the feet together, knees draw out nice and wide, and the thighs can rest gently on the cushions there. And then from there, the arms can place wherever feels best for you. I quite like to place the hands on the belly and focus in on the breath. And together here, let's take a nice big collective breath in. And a slow releasing exhale. One more just like that, big breath in. And steady breath out. Now, it goes without saying, if this does feel just a little too strong in the body, feel free to bring the knees into center and the feet as wide as your mat, this knock knee position or constructive rest pose. But just give yourself a few moments to ground into the practice, to feel relaxed and rested through the whole physical body. And when we practice yin, it asks that we guide the awareness inward, perhaps closing down the eyes. This feeling of being exactly where you are, being supported by the props, by the earth, by your breath. And perhaps more challenging when the instinct comes to move or to wriggle around or to adjust. See if we can create just a little more space between that thought and the immediate reaction. Often this desire to move comes out of discomfort, and we definitely, as humans, do not like to be uncomfortable. Yin is a beautiful practice of allowing ourselves to sit in discomfort, never pain, just discomfort, and be aware. Supporting ourselves with the rhythm of the breath. Just a few more slow and steady breaths here. Take one more nice big breath in. Clearing exhale breath. Nice and gently, using the hands, guide the knees into center. Let's slide your cushions off to one side. And then heel toe the feet as wide as your mat, knock the knees into the center. Hands can rest on the belly, or if you'd rather find a little bit of movement here, anything intuitive. So again, see if you can create a little space between immediate reaction, and with every movement that you make, allow it to be really purposeful. One more nice big breath in. Steady breath out. Nice and gently guiding yourself into center. Hug the knees in towards your chest. Hands will hold the tops of the shins. And just start to draw some circles through the legs here. So using the hands on the shins, or if that feels like it's a little too far away, you can hold the backs of your thighs. But start to draw nice big circles, taking it one way and perhaps the other. And notice how this provides just a soft release through the low back. Just a little stretch and a little massage. Good. Just one more nice big breath in here. Steady exhale. And gently, as you're ready, allowing the feet to land down about hip width apart. Hands will land down next to the hips, and just make sure we're not too far away with the heels. They're probably about, I don't know, almost, you can almost graze your heels, but not quite there. Now from here, I'd like you to draw the belly in towards your spine, and then reach the arms up and overhead. Allow them to relax up and above you. From here, see if you can lift up through the center of the chest, creating a little rainbow shape with the spine. So much so that there's a gap. You can reach your fingers to, give it a little wave. And then we'll take it in the opposite direction. Tuck the tailbone under, press the low back down into the mat, draw the navel in towards the spine. A few more in your own time. So we're tilting the pelvis forward and back and allowing the spine to move gently with these pelvic rocks. And see if you can focus on a slow and steady movement. And as the low back presses down into the mat, navel draws to spine, really plug it down, curl the tailbone under, feel the low back flatten against the earth. Just a few more rounds here, just like that, nice and slow. Maybe the eyes closed down, focusing in on your breath. Taking one more nice big breath in, one more full round. Big breath out. And nice and gently release your spine back to a neutral position. Draw the knees in towards your chest. Find a grip on the backs of your thighs. Let's start to rock and roll up and down the length of your spine. Take a few rocks here if it feels okay to do so, massaging down the length of your spine. Eventually we'll meet in a tabletop position. So take as many rocks as you like, or if that's not feeling super juicy in the body, you can come straight on up. Stacking wrists under shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Fingers spread nice and wide. Inhale, breath, dip to the belly, draw the chest and heart space forward. Exhale, breath, rounding through the spine, tucking the chin towards the chest. Again, like that, inhale, breath, dips the belly, shines the heart forward. And exhale, we round through, guiding chin to chest. Take a few more at the rhythm and pace of your own breath. And again, you might even close the eyes down here. And much like when we did our pelvic tilts, it's a similar position. We're curling the tailbone under in our angry cat. And as we dip the belly and open the heart, we're pointing the tailbone upward, untucking the tailbone, lengthening. Good. A few more nice slow and steady rounds. If you're feeling like you want to add in any hip circles or any extra movements, please feel free to do so. Just allowing yourself to feel into the body nice and gently, nice and slowly. One more full breath in. And a full breath out. Heading back in towards your neutral spine. Ground down firmly into your right hand. Left fingertips will peel open, reach up nice and high. And then exhale to dive the left arm underneath the right, pausing here. Now, side of the head relaxes down to the earth. If that feels like it's a little far away, maybe you grab your blanket, placing it underneath the head. But regardless of where you go, the right hand is there to support you. If you're feeling like you'd like a little more juice here, you can creep the right hand up towards the top right-hand corner of the mat and then press gently in, finding more rotation, more space through the upper back. Take 3 more slow and steady breaths here. One more nice big breath in. Steady exhale. Nice, and gently right hand back under right shoulder. Press the ground away, unravel, let fingertips peel open. And exhale to softly set the hand down. Let's switch it straight over. Right arm peels open, breathe in. Exhale to dive the right arm underneath the left. Side of the face relaxes down. Left hand grounds for support, or perhaps we creep it forward, leaning a little more weight on towards the right shoulder. Good. Slow and steady breaths here. Try and relax as much as possible. Just a gentle release. Good. And just inviting in 3 more deep breaths. One more nice big breath in. Steady breath out. Nice and gently press down through your left hand. Right arm peels open. Inhale, breath. And exhale nice and slowly, set the hand down. From here, walk your knees back behind you so you can lower the belly down, arriving into Sphinx pose. Elbows will stack underneath our shoulders. Tops of the feet land down. There's a gentle engagement of the glutes of the butt cheeks to lengthen through the low back. But from here, see if you can draw the chest slightly forward, draw the shoulders back and down. We'll spend a few moments here. So if you have a block, you might place the block underneath the forehead, offer yourself just a little bit of support. Or another juicy variation for a little more sensation is to bring your folded blanket underneath your elbows. So essentially, we're deepening the back bend here. But wherever you choose to go, allow the shoulders to relax a little, just enough to hold us up. Chin is tucking gently so the neck is long if we haven't got our head on a block. We'll take a few slow and steady breaths here. Pressing down gently into the pubic bone. This allows us to find more length through the low back and open the front chain of the body. Just a few slow, gentle, steady breaths here. Allowing yourself to be exactly as you are, knowing there's nowhere else you need to go, nothing else you need to do in this moment. Let's take 3 more slow and steady breaths here. If you're feeling like for the final 3 breaths, you'd like a little more space, you can come into seal pose, bringing the hands to the top corners of the mat, pressing gently into the palms to straighten through the arms any amount. Again, a little squeeze of the glutes, a little press down through the pubic bone. One more full breath in. Steady breath out. Nice and gently lower all the way back down to the belly. Hands under our shoulders, we'll slide back to child's pose. So either knees nice and wide, big toes come to touch with the arms extending out in front, chest lowers. Or feel free to adjust the width of the knees. You might bring them in a little narrower. You might drape the arms down beside you if that feels better in your body. But see if you can send breath here all the way into the back chain of the body. And maybe you visualize sending breath into the low back. Allow the body to get heavier here. No tension where there doesn't need to be any. Take one more full breath in. Steady exhale breath. Nice and gently shifting yourself up into a tabletop position from here. Bring the knees back underneath the hips. Extend the right leg back behind you and then do your best, step the right foot just outside of the right hand. Good. So from here, we're setting up for a lizard lunge. Ground down through the front foot. See if you can make sure the knee is stacked over the ankle. And then start to walk the back knee back any amount. And here might be where you find your block or your Tupperware container to place underneath the hands to offer ourselves just a little more space. This can be a sticky shape. But notice in here, hug the front knee in towards the upper arm. Squeeze the left glute on. Just a little, not a huge squeeze, but just enough to gently activate. And focus on this release through the front of the left hip. So our psoas, this muscle in the front of the hip, attaches to the low back. It comes all the way up from the top of the thigh bone in towards the hip or in through the hip and then attaches to the lumbar spine. So when it gets sticky and tight, it pulls on the low back and can create, not a nice sensation, that's for sure. So here in this moment, take a few breaths just to breathe slowly and deeply and allow for that release. Head and neck might roll out, relax. Good. Take one more full breath in here. Steady breath out. Nice and gently looking down at the right toes. Flex the toes firmly. You start to yawn the hip open, so we're rolling onto the knife edge blade of the hip, and we'll incorporate a little twist. So if you've got your block, place the left hand on top of the block. Right hand finds the right thigh, and we'll gently peel open through the chest. Nice, easy twist. Not long here, just 2 big breaths. One more in, one more out. Nice and gently guiding the knee back into center. Now you might keep your block with you here as we start to straighten into the front leg any amount. Now I know for a lot of us this is super sticky, so you might bring the hands down onto your block or your Tupperware container or your book on its highest setting. Flex into the right toes and then just allow for a gentle stretch down the back of the hamstring. Know that you can bend the knee as much as you like here as well, but definitely stay a little active through the toes, flexing them towards you. And you'll notice when you flex the toes super firmly, you feel the stretch down the back of the leg. So back of the hamstring, calf, and down into the Achilles and the ankle as well. And just a slow few breaths here to find that release. One more in, one more out. Nice, and gently rebend into the front knee, popping your block to one side, and we'll simply switch it over. So right hand lands down, send the right knee back underneath the hip, and then kick the left leg back behind you to do your best to step the foot just outside of the left hand. If it doesn't quite land there, shuffle it forward, making sure the knee is over the ankle, and then find the length of your stance that feels best by walking the back toes back just a touch there. And remember here, we're hugging the front knee in as well. And this might be where you find your block. Again, placing it underneath the hands to allow for a little more space through the chest. Right glute squeezes on gently our right butt cheek to protect our hip flexor, our psoas, as we gently begin to open here. And your shape might not look quite like this. Perhaps the back knee is in a little more. Whatever feels best for you. You can even bring the block up to its highest setting if it feels like that's going to be a little more nourishing. But feel it out, breathe into it. Just a few more steady breaths here. Relaxing through the shoulders, unclenching through the jaw, allowing for this slow and steady rhythm of your breath to support you. One more in, and one more out. Nice, and gently start to extend into the front leg. Oh, no, not just yet. Come back, rebend into the front knee. Place the block down underneath your right hand and then flex the right toes firmly. Yawn open into the hip. Left hand finds the left thigh. As we peel back the top shoulder, just 2 big breaths here. One more in, one more out. Nice, and gently guide the knee back into center. Now we begin to straighten into the front leg. Perhaps bringing our block back with us. You might even slide the front heel forward a little so that our hips are stacked over our back knee. Toes are flexed and there's no need for the leg to be particularly straight. You might have quite a significant bend. That's cool. Just allow yourself to find your amount of sensation here. And breathing slowly and deeply, noticing how the breath offers us a chance to find a little more release, a little more space. Nice, yogis. Take 2 more big breaths here. One more in, and one more out. Nice, and gently rebending into the front knee. You can pop your block off to one side. From here, heel toe the left foot to the center of the mat. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee and look forward. Do your best to step up to a standing forward fold. So feet are about hip width apart, maybe wider if that feels better in your body. And here, try not to straighten out through the legs. Take a generous bend into the knees. And here, if your forward fold looks not quite as foldy as you would like, you might bring your block or Tupperware container or book to place the hands onto here. But what we're looking for in our standing forward fold is a generous bend into the knees so that we're allowing a sense of release into the low back. When we straighten out to the legs, it tends to jam the hamstrings, to jam the low back. But when we bend, it allows a lovely, juicy stretch all the way from the heels of the feet, up the ankles, the calves, the backs of the thighs, the hips, the low back, into the whole back body, and down the back of the neck.
So you might grab a hold of opposite elbows here. Maybe a gentle sway from side to side. Anything that feels nice, but really release the whole back body. Keep the knees soft. And take some slow, steady, and deep breaths. Good. Let's stay for just 3 more breaths here. And 1 more big breath in and out. Gently release the arms. Keep the knees nice and soft. Start to really slowly roll to stand, but take your time. Allow the spine to unravel and stack 1 vertebrae at a time. As you arrive all the way up to the top, the crown of the head will be the last thing to lift. Shoulders draw up, back and down. Take a big breath in. Exhale, chin to chest. We come out the way we came in, rolling through the spine. Let the shoulders round under. Upper back, middle back rounds. Soft, generous bend into the knees. As we peel all the way back down into our fold. From here, plant the hands down to the earth. Bend into the knees as much as you need to. Allow the knees to lower down, coming into a kneeling seat. To shift our weight over to one side and extend the legs out in front of us. Now from here, grabbing a hold of the tops of your shins, take an inhale breath, pulse the heart forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together, shoulders draw back and down. Exhale breath, rounding through the spine, guiding your chin towards your chest. 1 more just like that, inhale breath, heart draws forward. And exhale, rounding through the spine. Good. Pause there for a moment. Holding on to the shins, allow the shoulder blades to spread apart. Might breathe a little more space into the back chain of the body. 1 more full breath in. Steady exhale breath. Nice. And gently bring the knees with you as you roll all the way down onto your back. Give yourself a little cuddle. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Little rock from side to side. And then nice and gently setting the left foot down to the earth. Place the right ankle to the top of the left thigh. Pressing the left thigh away from you. Feel the hips square off. This might be where you stay. If you'd like a little more, we've got our reclined figure 4. Threading the hands through, gripping onto the back of the left thigh or the front of the shin. Nice big flex into the right toes. And maybe a gentle rock towards the left. And this is where we stay, we hold, we breathe. Allowing that nice big flex to guide you a little deeper. And perhaps again you notice the steady rhythm of your breath here. Good. Take 1 more full breath in. Steady breath out. Nice and gently release. Allow the feet to land down to the earth. Knees into the center, hands onto the belly. Just a few slow and gentle breaths. Allow the spine to soften down, the hips to ground. And then as you feel ready, into your second side. Right foot lands down to the earth, left ankle to the top of the right thigh. Again, this might be where you stay. Perhaps the hands thread through, finding a grip on the back of the right thigh or the front of the shin. Big flex of the left toes up towards the knee, and maybe a gentle rock over towards the right. For me, that hits a real sweet spot. And some slow, steady breaths here. So you can breathe right down into the belly. And from there, allowing the breath to overflow up into the chest and rib cage. So we've got full body breaths, front body, side body, back body. Good. One more full breath in and out. Nice and gently releasing what you've got. As we make our way into our final shape, or shapes, because we have two sides, you might need to grab, or you might like to grab, I should say, your cushions here. Our next shape will be our supine twist. So I might suggest picking up the hips, popping them over to the right-hand side of your mat, placing one of your cushions right next to your left leg and hip, and placing the other one in between the legs. Arms draw wide to a T or cactus if you've got a wall near you like me. Lift up the legs up off the earth, tabletop, and then let them roll gently over to the left-hand side, feeling supported in your twist. And you might choose to adjust a little bit, maybe a little more of a scooch of the hips over. Maybe there's an adjustment of the cushions. You might have both of the cushions underneath the bottom leg, or even extending through the bottom leg, both cushions underneath the top leg. Whatever feels best for you, feel free to get a little creative with your props here, but ensure the shoulders are grounding down. And the breath is nice and steady. And here, with the eyes closed down, we withdraw the gaze inward. With so much going on in our lives, it's kind of a rare moment that we have this time to ourselves. So don't be afraid to spend a little time with yourself here, observing your internal landscape, breathing slowly and deeply, and observing the sensations in the body. This fine-tuned ear, it's tuning out of the outside stimulus and into our internal self. Take one more nice big breath in here. Steady exhale. Next inhale guides you back through center, nice and slow. You might take a moment in the middle, just allow the spine to soften down to the ground. And then we can start to prepare the second side. So whichever variation you found yourself in, using your cushions however you like. I quite like this bottom leg extended, top leg guides on top, but whatever feels good for you. Remember, you might place a cushion in between the legs, or have one or both underneath the right thigh. Arms draw wide to a T. It's a nice idea to scooch the hips onto the left-hand side of the mat. So we've got a nice long spine in our twist. Steady, slow breaths. A chance to release and to reconnect. One nice big breath in. Clear it, breath out. Nice and gently drawing yourself back and into center, setting up for our Shavasana. So here you might place your blanket underneath the back of the head. It can feel quite nice to support the head. And perhaps the cushions go underneath the backs of the knees. Just a couple of options there to play around with, but it's completely up to you. Feel free to, again, get creative with your props. Legs wide, arms wide, little tuck under of the tailbone to lengthen the spine. Tuck of the shoulder blades to broaden through the chest. Take a nice big breath in. Clearing exhale. Allow yourself to settle into this state of release, of space, of calm and stillness that you have created. This is your Shavasana. And you can stay here for as little or as long as you like. But again, create a little bit of space between a thought or an idea to move and then the movement itself. So that when you move out of the state of stillness, it's purposeful. The body has told you that it's ready to go. And I'll leave you here to enjoy your Shavasana. Slow, steady breaths. And I'll see you next time. Namaste.